Hello everyone. I just want to talk a little bit about similarities. Now, I was always taught at school when I wrote an essay, if I'm writing about something, supposing I'm writing about a book, if I'm writing an essay, I need to write about the argument running through the essay. I need to write about an argument for some reason. And that always really confused me because in my life, a noticeable thing that I found that I had is that I noticed patterns and similarities in things everywhere I go. I guess this is kind of partly something to do with being an artist and being creative. But I also think it's to do with systems and the way that things work. And it's kind of connected to, I think, how source works, and how everything is perfectly connected together. The only way that I can think of at the moment to describe that is, when you're a little child and someone buys you one of those pop-up books, and some of those pop-up books are the most intricate and amazing things that you've ever seen when you're a little child. And even as an adult, adults look at them and they don't know how it's put together, but they know it's put together by a very clever mind who can think out of the box. The box is basically the ego's paradigm. So it's the way that the ego works, only looking at things from within that box. But what I'm talking about is a way of looking at things that's completely different to how the worldview, how we're taught to look at things, how we're programmed, and how we're kind of brainwashed at looking at things. So we're kind of taught to have an argument in our essay. We're kind of taught to see the differences in each other. And this makes us be competitive. Competitive is also an ego thing. I always look for similarities. This is a natural thing for me. I see the similarities in people and things and I group them together. Now, this recently has been kind of related to being autistic, which apparently I am. Straight away, as soon as I found out that I was, I kind of thought I'm not going to attach to that identity of myself, because that's not how God works. God is unlimited. So it's a limitation, isn't it, to think of yourself as identifying yourself as being autistic. But it's one of those amazing things that autistic people have, is this ability to think outside of the box and to look at things in a completely different way. And now this is what I want to talk about really, is looking at things in a way that unifies them. So when you see someone walking down the street and you notice things about that person that you think you don't like, that you judge, that you criticize, this is how you've been taught to think. This is kind of like a fear way of thinking, where you're what you're doing is you're seeing those things inside yourself that you don't like, and then you projecting it onto someone else. And then you say that you don't like it in them, but that person's not you. That person is not me. So therefore, I can say that about them. I can judge them because that person isn't me. So it's okay to judge them. Whereas really what we're doing is we're actually doing it to ourselves because we're one mind. So when one person judges one person and then another person judges someone else, it creates a field of fear and judgment, and then that affects everybody and everything that gets created. So if we want to change the world, to make the world a beautiful, peaceful, loving, caring, everything that we want our world to be, everything that comes from our heart, we need to start looking at where we're seeing the differences, where we're saying, he's like that, but I'm not. And you just looking at it, because if you then judge yourself for doing that, then that's judgment again, isn't it? So you're doing this, the ego is coming in through the back door, you're doing the same thing again. So just noticing, and then what I do is I choose again. So you can either call that replacing, which gets frowned upon by my husband, but I don't mind. He has his way of doing it. But I also say to choose again, because there is no time. So whatever you're thinking now is now. So that the last thing that you thought is the thing that is the thing that you want to create. So then if you realize that you've had a judgment thought, and then you choose again, and you choose not to have a judgment thought, because you realize that what you're actually doing is you're projecting onto that person, because you already have judgment in yourself. You can't know what judgment is unless you've seen it inside yourself, and you know how it feels as well. You know how much it harms you and how much it hurts. And when you do it to someone else, you're also judging yourself, because you're remembering that feeling of judgment. You're remembering, and you're bringing it up into your consciousness. So what we want to do is create a world that's beautiful, harmonious, peaceful. Everyone loves each other and they care about each other. Call me idealistic, but I truly believe that what you think in your head is what materializes. It's what you create. And so if your belief is strong, if you have a strong vision in your mind, and just imagine if everyone felt like this, whether you believe it or not. How does it hurt to try? Just to try and think like that. It doesn't hurt, but it's a time wasting activity, isn't it? I don't think any of this is time wasting activity. I think this is the most important thing to do that we can ever do, because what we're thinking in our mind is creating our world. So what I wanted to say, getting back to the point of similarities and differences, is if we want the world to be like this, if we want the world to be a beautiful place to live in, not just for ourselves, but for our children and for our children's children, and many future generations to come, if we want this to happen, then we can do it. We can make it happen by unifying. Unification is a strength. Unification and strength are where we need to come from. We need to find it in ourselves. Strength is honesty, integrity, the ability to take responsibility for what you create in your own mind. And where we unify is where we are that in our lives. So we're demonstrating that. We're not just demonstrating it, because demonstrating is what you see. But when you actually are, when you live as you mean to be, what you think in your head, when you come from your heart, if you come from love, you know you're coming from love because it makes you feel good. When you're loving people, when you're not judging them, you're not criticizing them, you're not looking at them in a way that they're different to you, they're the same. They're the same on the inside. They might look different to you on the outside, but they're the same. Everyone wants love. Everyone. There's not one single person who doesn't want to be filled up with the love that they feel in their heart. And you can do that by being that love. Every day you can concentrate on receiving from source, because we don't get love from people. Love is what exists. Love is what we are. And love is something that we receive only from God, from source, our creator. I can't get it from you, and you can't get it from me. But we can give love. We can give love in how we are. So love is an energy. We are energy, we are light, and we are love. And if we live from that place of love and we unify in our thinking, that's what we want to receive, isn't it? We want to receive love. We want to be, we want to feel good. We want this world to be good. This is what we want. Keep that thought in your mind. And the next time you're looking at someone and you're afraid of them, you feel fear, you feel judgment coming on, you look at them and you're thinking, oh my God, you know, what are they doing with their children? These types of thoughts, you need to go and turn around full circle and look in the mirror at yourself and understand and know that when you're doing that, you're doing it to yourself. You're doing it to yourself because it's coming from within you, and that's the only place that's real. That's the only place that is truly you. So go back inside and replace it with love. Choose again. Choose again. You can always choose again. This is a fundamental principle about being a human being, is we have free will. We have free choice. We always, whether it seems like it or not, we always have the opportunity to make a new decision, to make a new choice in every moment, because every moment is now. Every moment is now. There is no past and there is no future. So what you're thinking now is what you are and what you're creating. And it creates waves. So anything you're thinking now is going to create a wave, and that wave reacts with things that have already happened, because they're kind of happening now. So they're all interacting with each other, and of course that affects the outcome. But I really think if you can focus on what you want, not necessarily what you want, but when you're talking to yourself in your head, be careful about what you say, because how you say it can make it sound like it's something that you haven't got already. This is where we're functioning from. A lot of the time we're functioning from a place where we don't believe that we have it already in ourselves. Whereas actually we already have everything. It's just not coming into our consciousness. We're just not aware of it yet. But we can make ourselves more and more aware of it by having gratitude every day, being thankful for everything that we have. And when something goes wrong, understand and know that it's only come from you. So if you're manifesting something that you don't want in your life constantly, that means there's a pattern. So go back to your feelings of what you want. So you want love. I am love. I am loving. I am lovable forever. Forever. And you can say this in your head over and over again, and I say it as a meditation. It's something that was taught by Yeshua. It's in the Way of Mastery books if you're interested where I'm getting some of this information. But a lot of this information that I'm giving to you is coming to me through source. So it's coming to me from spirit, from God, from my higher self, from my spirit guides and ascended masters. And it comes in different forms, so it might just be something that pops into my head like it did this morning about similarities. And sometimes it's so spontaneous with me. This is what I love about it. If I'm doing a video like this, I kind of used to be scared about it, because I used to kind of think, oh, well, what if I end up saying things that are coming from ego, and I don't come across well, because so I'm afraid. That's a fear thing. So before I do these videos, I always ask spirit to help me, and so that I can come from that place where it doesn't appear that I'm kind of trying to tell people what to do, or what's best, or say it in a kind of egotistical way that comes across like I know best. I really just want to impart what comes in the flow. So all I'm telling you is stuff that is coming into me, that's helping me. It's really helpful stuff that I notice about myself, things from when I was a teenager, when I was a child. Just this thing about similarities is really, really useful, because if we want to be love, if we want to live love, if we want to live in a world that is beautiful and like God, and filled with everything that is us, that is what we really are, then we must be God. We must be that part of ourselves that is God. And the way that we do that is by seeing that in everyone else, seeing the love in everyone else, seeing that similarity, and in that way we unify. And when we're a unified mind, we're unstoppable. We're absolutely unstoppable. We make the most amazing things happen. It's already changing where people are unifying. The collective consciousness, when it's in love, when it's in support of each other, when we're sharing, just think what it does. Think what happens on Facebook, for an example. Facebook is kind of like a duality to it, which is part of the three-dimensional world, because it has this special way of unifying people for good, but also for bad. So when there's a lot of fear, it will spread like wildfire, like a forest fire. This is what Facebook is like. But if you think about it, if you put that to a good cause, if you put it to something where people really want to be loved, they really want to connect, They really want to make this world a better world to live in. Imagine, think about what Facebook does. It unifies everybody, brings them all together to one place. And this is what we can do in our mind if we really want to. I really believe it, and I wholeheartedly, every day, I see this world is going to be peaceful, and it's going to be beautiful, and it's going to be love, and it's going to be everything that we want. Everything. And if we say that now, it is love. It is good. Because it is. It is. It's not full of all these things that we give it, that we add to it. It is a place that is innocent. It's innocent until we create things that we fear. Until we're creating through fear. So let's not create through fear. Let's create through our heart. Let's create through the place that we want to create. And I think that's it, really. I can't think of anything else to say. There were a load of other things that I wrote down, but it's not kind of related to this, so I'll leave that for another time. So thank you all very much for listening. I really hope that there's stuff in this video that you can relate to. Thank you all so much for listening, and goodbye. I'll see you soon. Bye.